The 2nd and 11th houses, we've covered almost all of those permutations already, except the interchange of the 2nd with the 11th. We've covered all the rest. So I'm just going to talk about that interchange, but first I want to talk about the 2nd and 11th so you can understand them in the context of any other interchange they might cause. Okay? Look at the 2nd and 11th are both fixed houses. 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th are fixed houses. The 8th house is the house, you know, the one sure thing in life is that everything is going to break. That's a certainty in life. So the 8th house is the shitty certainty. So all these 2, 5, 8, and 11 houses are the certain houses, the fixed principles of just this is how it's going to ultimately end up. The 8th house is the part that's fixed that we don't like about. It's the famous one. The only sure thing in life is death and taxes. So the only sure thing is your money will be taken away from you and you will die. Okay, that's a fixed thing in everyone's life. But the other fixed houses, the 2nd, 5th, and 11th, are certainties we can have in our life that we like, okay, that are good. As long as we're alive, as long as that 8th house hasn't killed us, we have the certainty of the 2nd, 5th, and 11th houses in our life. Okay? As long as we're alive, we have the certainty of the food we're going to have, which is the 2nd house. Why? Because when we run out of food, we die, right? Which is to say, when it's time to die, some people don't get food anymore because it's time to die. But every bit of food has our name on it. I hate thinking about that. That means when I go to the ice cream store and get a whole bunch of ice cream, I'm doing it because that ice cream had my name on it. I'm like, shit, I wish this ice cream didn't have my name on it. I wish the ice cream I make at home had my name on it today, but it doesn't, so I'm going to eat bad ice cream today and pay the price. Okay? Really, every bit of food you have has your name on it. Okay? But you don't know what the next thing with your name on it's going to be. So at the 2nd house, a good 2nd house, is a 2nd house that the next thing with your name on it is always a better thing. The next food you eat is going to be better food than the one you ate last year. The next person with your name on it, the next friend, the next lover, the next job, the next thing that you say, my job, my food, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my wife, my spouse, my child, is always going to be a little better if the 2nd house is involved in a Mahayoga. So that's a really nice Mahayoga, right? The next thing that has my name on it is going to be a little better, or at least a good thing, okay, in comparison to any bad things. So a person's fortunate in that the things that are theirs, that have their name on them, are good things, and things that can possibly get better, okay? Now at the 2nd, I won't even talk about that yet. So look at that as the 2nd house, that's surety, okay? The 11th house is a fixed house too. And the fixed principle of the 11th house is that you will always gain something. You will always get something. No matter what happens in life, you're going to get something. And you're like, no, that's not true. My spouse just left me. I didn't get anything. I'm like, bullshit. You just got a lot of free time to do something exciting and beautiful with yourself. Right? That's what you get when your spouse leaves. What's unfortunate is so often we get something and we don't realize it, right? In fact, I'd say most of the reasons people are miserable is because they're getting something and they don't see it. They only see what they're losing. So the surety of the 11th house, which is the 12th house from the 12th house, the house of loss from the house of loss. So the 11th house is also a house of loss. No matter what happens in life, it's impossible to not get something. There's not a situation in the world where you will not get something. Okay? Now sometimes what you get sucks. Interchange with the 5th house and 8th house, your spouse left you, and what do you get? You also got AIDS because of the person they had an affair with right before they left you. You got something really shitty, right? But you got something. 11th house is just about getting something, right? You're always going to get something. So you got free time because your spouse left, but you also got AIDS because your spouse left before or after they slept with the wrong person who had AIDS. And so now you've got a disease that's going to take up all the time you could have had with your spouse out of your life. So basically, you got screwed. You got misery. You had a cause of misery. That's an 11th house Danya Yoga. That's how your life works. Whenever you lose something, you're supposed to get something. While with 11th house Danya Yoga, what you get when you lose something sucks and isn't a gift in any way imaginable. Okay? Like that bad example I gave. But a good 11th house interchange with the Mahayoga is you always get a gift with everything that you lose. There's always a good something with everything you lose. And more importantly, the person can see that good thing. There's always a good something there's always a good something with everything we lose, unless the 11th house is in a Danya Yoga. If your 11th house is in a Danya Yoga with the 6th, 8th, or 12th Lord, then yes. Lots of times when you lose something, you're not going to gain anything except a bunch of shit. But if you've got your 11th house not in a Danya Yoga and not trashed, then anytime you lose something, there's something for you to seize and enjoy and work with. There's a gift for you. The question is, are you seeing it? A lot of people don't see it. They're like, no, that's all I want. Nothing else matters to me. Well, that's your own goddamn fault that there's a whole world around you and you only decided one thing matters and that thing is the gone thing. Well, that's your own pathetic problem. Okay? But with the Mahayoga, the person's never going to have that. They're always going to see the gift. Yes, I lost that, but it allowed me to do this. It allowed me to become this. It allowed me to go here. It gave me the time to do this. It's always something. There's always a gift for that person. There is really something good in everything that leaves them, everything they lose, in every process, they gain something. Their life is a continuation of gains. And a lot of that is because of the outlook. They can always see what they're being given. They're always seeing their reward. The 11th house is the house of rewards. If you win a race, you get your medals, right? Those medals are the 11th house. What if you lose the race? What was your reward then? Well, to the person with the 11th house Mahayoga, the reward was the joy of running the race, the experience of running the race. You know? The training, the extra strength that they gained from running a race. But to a person with a miserable 11th house, they don't see anything good about losing a race, except that they hate life, life is unfair, everyone else should have ran slower and let them win. That's not how life works. There's almost always a gain in life. Can you see it? The 11th house Mahayoga person can see it. And so that helps them deal with all the losses and all the pains in life. And it helps them take advantage of the good things because they see them. Oh yeah, that's there. Of course I'm going to do that. Of course I'm going to use that. A lot of people, they have something right next to them, like really good thing right here, and they don't see it. And they're, oh, I'm so miserable, and there's this good thing here saying, hey, I'm right here, and they can't see it. So learn to see the opportunities in your life. It's impossible. It's a fixed certainty. Astrology proves it. There's always something you're gaining. Now let's say you have an 11th house Danya Yoga. And whenever something happens, you always gain shit. Whether your girlfriend comes or leaves, you get shit. Whether you get a job or lose a job, you get shit. Well, what do you gain then? You're still gaining something with that Danya Yoga. What you're gaining is the opportunity to burn, sadly, more bad karma. But that's still something. You're still getting something, right? It's not wasted. There's nothing ever wasted in life. There's no energy wasted. So learn to see the 11th house in that context. People with that Mahayoga with 11th are very lucky in that they can see what they gain. So any of these nice Mahayogas with the interchange in the 11th house, the person's always going to be able to see what they're gaining, particularly in the area the 11th house interchanges with. They're constantly going to see the possibilities, the benefits of everything that happens in that area of life. Okay? All right. Then, simply put, what happens when we got the 2nd and 11th house interchanged? The last two houses we haven't talked about. Well, 11th house is a house of gains. Second is the house of things with mine on it. They gain more things that are theirs. More responsibilities, more good people, more money, more collections, more anything that they're interested in. They get more and more things with their name on it. More houses if they're into houses, more collectibles in their collectibles, more fame if they're into fame, more power if they're into power. They gain more things with their name on it. They have a life of increase, basically. Okay? It's a nice combination. And why is that? Again, because they learn to see the value of what life affords them. They learn to see the value of what life gives them. And they use that, and in using it, they increase their life's value. They benefit from it. They increase the value of their life. The second house is the house of the value of our life as well. So that means a life of mine is responsible, is valuable. Well, some people say, I have all this money. This is my money. And this makes me valuable. Yes, you're worth $10 million because you say you have $10 million. So it's true. You're worth $10 million because you own $10 million. Okay? But that's one way we can measure value if you want to measure it in dollars. But a person who constantly gives to people, or constantly heals people, or constantly helps people, like someone like Jesus, right? That's his value, right? The ruler who has a country, he says, my country that he's truly helping, he has value. So anything that is ours increases our value. But what's the denomination? What's the currency? Okay? The person with $10 million has value of $10 million. But only if those $10 million is being used, right? So the second houses are really our active value. It's not the value we have buried in our mattress. It's our active value. It's how much of what is mine that we're putting into circulation with the good things in the world. To make the world better. To make other people happier. To fix something. To do anything that's good. Okay? Anything that you would want your name attached to. Really, what kind of person wants their name attached to the fact that they have $10 billion in their bank account? I mean, raise your hand if you want your name attached to that. A lot of people do, right? Now, how many people would like to have their name attached to the fact that you have $10 billion that you industrially and intelligently used to, save, an animal species from extinction? That's money in value. That's money that has true value. Money is meant to be utilized for the purpose of good. Otherwise, it has no value. Got it? So, a person can have a strong second house with a lot of bullshit around it and have the $10 billion that has no value in this world because it's not in circulation. And then there's the person who can have a Maha-Yoga and he's got $10 billion, but it's all in circulation. Maybe it's in circulation on purpose because he's doing good deeds and giving to groups and helping charities. But maybe it's in circulation because he just buys whatever he wants. Oh yeah, I want to drive this sports car for a day. And he drives it for a day and then he turns it in and loses $50,000 on the trade-in. It doesn't matter. That's a good use of money. Well, it seems like a trivial use, but the money's in circulation, right? It's going through people's hands. It's helping them feed their kids. It's still money in circulation. So that person who has $10 billion and just keeps spending it as fast as he can make it has value in this world. Whenever I end up overpaying for something, which I do all the time because I got a terrible Mercury, it's combust and it's debilitated. Whenever I do dumb things financially and I lose money and I overpay for stuff, I just go, well, at least the money's in circulation. At least the money is out there helping people pay for their bills, helping people feed their kids. Hell, helping Uncle Sam get a cut off it to do whatever the hell he needs to do, for whatever programs the government's trying to do. It's in circulation. Money's never wasted if it's in circulation. If you can take all your money and go buy something utterly useless and pay 100 times more than it's worth, and your money has more value doing that than hiding in your basement where it's not in circulation. Got it? So the second house is the house of value. And the things that we have that are of value are things that are in circulation. Okay? That make the world a better place. Okay? That's the true meaning of the second house. It's not a selfish second house of the clingy miser. You know? The guy who has the paintings buried in his basement so he can pathologically go downstairs, pour himself a glass of wine and feel like he's the king on earth. That person has no value. That person's collection has no value. The person whose collection is valuable is the person who donates this painting to this museum so the whole world can enjoy it, who catalogs his collection so that other collectors can go, oh, I was trying to identify that belt buckle that I collect belt buckles too, and I was trying to figure out, you know, where that belt buckle was made, and through your collection and through you publicizing your collection, I found it, I'm so happy. Now that person has value as a collector. So you see what I'm saying? Nothing has value if it only lives within the domains of our ego. Okay, so when I talk about the second house of things that are ours, that have our name on it, we want those things to have value. We want them to be positive minds. Okay? Minds that everyone can appreciate us for and be glad that we're on earth for. You get a second house Danya Yoga. I've seen second house Danya Yogas with lots of wealth. Filthy rich second house Danya Yogas. And what are they about? They're about their money. They have no true value on earth. But the second house Mahayoga person, they have value. You know, what they have, what they call mine, my money, my job, my whatever, helps the world be a better place. So they can take satisfaction in it, they can get respect in it, it becomes a source of happiness. It's a good thing. So you understand the difference? So the second houses, all houses are just so interesting, you know. I think probably the best thing in these last few videos, was just to help everyone understand the houses on a somewhat deeper level, okay, than I've talked about in lots of other videos. There's so many levels to every house. We want to understand those houses and then use them in our interpretations as we figure them out for that specific person. So please understand these important things I've talked about all these different types of houses. Okay, I think that's it for interchanges. I think I'm done. So now we're going to go on to something called final dispositors, which will also indicate other types of themes. But again, one of the most powerful themes are these interchange themes. And you want to examine these interchange themes in Vargas too. If you see an interchange in a Varga, that theme will be there in the Varga. And again, use the signs as counted from the Lagna. Don't use the Babakas for these interchanges. Use the houses, full sign houses from the Ascendant. And look for them. You know, you'll be very lucky with certain things. Like I've got 2 Mahayogas in my Navamsha. I have like a really, really lucky Navamsha. It's really, wow, nice. I have lots of other shitty Vargas, and I have some messed up plants in my Navamsha, but at the end of the day, I've got 2 Mahayogas in my Navamsha. And I've been very lucky in my choice of marriage partner. You know? Very fortunate, Maha, you know, great. And marriage has become a great part of my life. Now, lots of other parts of my life are an utter disaster, but I've been lucky in that department, okay? So look for those Vargas to see where you've got a Mahayoga. One client I had, they had a Danya Yoga in their Hora, the 2nd and 6th. They were successful, they were sought after in their work field as a writer, but always money was like, staying ahead of the money wagon. Always drudgery, drudgery. Even though they were an accomplished person in an intellectual field, somehow always the money was like a burden. The money issues were a burden because they had a misery yoga in the Hora chart. So look through all your Vargas. Find your interchange yogas. These interchange yogas can help you rectify a Varga sometimes. You know, if you're like, wait a minute, I can't identify with any Maha in this Varga, and then you just adjust the time 10 seconds and the Lagna changes, well, maybe now you can. So this is a good rectification technique because there'll be some strong indications of these Mahayogas. Now remember one thing with all these yogas, Mahayogas and Dana yogas, very much look at them from the concrete view of the person's life. Like, look at them as out of the box. So look at that person's life as a whole and say, can I see the Dana yoga? Can I see, as an uninvested person, the Mahayogas or the Kali yogas? Okay? If you ask a person, do you feel you've been fortunate in your Navamsha or your Dasamsha or your Saptamsha? They might say no, and you'll see the Mahayoga right there. So don't always ask them the question, because a person may be a chronically depressed person and not appreciate something fortunate. And so they might say, no, I'm just really miserable. And then 2 hours later, after talking about them and hearing their story, you find out they have this huge cause to be happy, but they're just not able to. But they still have that good thing. It's always there. They always have that nice thing. So realize that these yogas can very much work out in a very concrete way. There's always going to be concrete effects of these yogas. But people don't always appreciate the concrete things in their lives because they're dealing with underlying issues. All right? So make sure you know the true story of a person's life before you decide if they have this Mahayoga or that Mahayoga when you try to rectify a chart. Otherwise, you might just be, just based on their depression, you might adjust, oh, it's good. Or just because they're naturally a really happy person, a very optimistic person, they might not see that negative interchange in one of their Vargas as being that bad. Okay? So they don't even realize it, because they're just innately happy. But then if you question them, you say, but doesn't this always work the wrong way? Doesn't this always go south? And they're like, yeah, it does, but it just never ruined my day. But it still always happens. So very much pay attention to the concrete reality of these yogas. Okay, thank you.